Halloween
Forever.
Hey, how was your Thanksgiving, Steve?
It was pretty decent.
Pretty decent. Yeah, I could say the same.
Decent.
We're into it here. I already got the Christmas tree up. It's now we're this is our last Minisode of November. We're getting into December. I actually went out, like I said, I bought a Christmas tree. And the guy asked me when I bought it, he said, "You gonna put this up yourself?" I said, "Nah, I'm just thinking about putting it in the living room." Boys and ghouls, I don't know. To a very merry Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
The setup could have been better. It wasn't a bad joke. I think I botched the setup. The idea is like I thought that he meant, are you going to put it up your asshole?
A shrimp fried this rice?
It was exactly a shrimp fried this rice. It was that type of gag, and I botched the delivery. It's early in the morning here. I'm just getting my second cup of coffee up and running. But we are here on this most sacred of days, the Lord's Day, Sunday. We're recording this day before it comes out, early in the morning, which is a little bit unusual for us. We're a little out of sorts, guys, but that's all right, because the movie we're going to talk about is very out of sorts. It fucking blows, you guys. I'm just going to throw that out and spoil it. We are about to talk about a movie called The Killing Tree from 2022, but we got a couple other things we got to do before that. Like I said, a little bit abnormal episode here. Steve, are you drinking on something? I mean, I got a beverage. There's no booze in it, but
I got shit to do, so no, I have milk.
Yeah, you got a nice. That's very festive. And also, for some reason, you guys can't see, Steve's got like the platonic ideal of a glass of milk. It's just like a tall, narrow glass that like a child would leave on the table for Santa Claus with cookies. Mm-hmm. He's just drinking a tall glass of milk. How festive. I am a little bit more on the nose with my festive. I've got this is my Hallmark Christmas movie watching mug. And I am drinking a nice big cup of coffee, and I've got some of that peppermint mocha in there. So I'm really digging into the festive season. I've got Uncle Buck on in the background here. I don't know why. I just decided to throw that on.
It's Christmassy. There's snow.
Yeah, it's fairly Christmassy.
Speaking of peppermint mocha, if we're going to talk, if we want to do a little bevy talk, outside of just milk and coffee, Wendy's, they got that brought
Frosty.
back they got the peppermint frosty, right? But now they're also doing the cold brew with the peppermint.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to die. I'm going to lose a foot this season because of that. It's so good. It's so good. I'm going to lose a foot.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you don't need both of them. Here's what I was thinking. I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna though. Love me some Wendy's. But the pumpkin spice frosty was fucking undrinkable. It was
awful. Yeah.
It tasted like a candle. Like it was all the worst part. Like it was for me to throw away a frosty and not even have more than 3 or 4 spoonfuls of it, it's got to be bad. And it was fucking undrinkable. And I'm a frosty in I like to dip the frost. I like to dick that frosty down. I like to dip my fries in the frosty. I'm one of those people. But I couldn't even do that with the pumpkin spice. It was fucking atrocious. So I'm glad to hear that the peppermint mocha is on point, because 0 for 2, that would have put a dent in my faith in Wendy's, and I can't have that.
No, I know it would have upset me too, but yeah, because I had the cold brew version of that pumpkins frosty, and it was just the most undrinkable piece of shit I've ever had. I was so upset.
It was bizarrely bad. I didn't have the cold brew, but I had the frosty, and Jesus Christ. All right, that's Frosty Corner, guys.
Oh yeah, that's your Wendy's big bag break.
Wendy's big friend. Not a sponsor, could be. I happily talk about Wendy's. I use it myself. I'm not only an advertiser, I'm a user. I'm a client of Wendy's. But we got a couple other things we got to do here at the top of the show. First of all, if you're new to the podcast, thanks for joining us. Weird time of year to join us, but great. We appreciate it. We're going to talk about some spooky, ooky holiday horror type of stuff throughout the month of December. Not exclusively, but then we do tend to focus on that a little bit. We got some tasty, festive, decadent, yummy, peppery content, pepperminty content, perhaps, every Monday on the internets for you to enjoy. And if you want to see some stuff on the social medias where we talk about upcoming episodes and just dumb little spooky shit on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all that type of stuff, follow us on the social medias. You know, where just type in Halloween's Forever. You're going to find us wherever the hell we are. Also, haven't mentioned in a while, but if you want to send us an email with some sort of suggestion, or perhaps you're Wendy's, you are Wendy herself, or perhaps Dave Thomas back from the grave want to offer us some sweet deal, go over there and shoot us an email. It's halloweenisforeverpod@gmail.com. Also, haven't mentioned in a little while, if you feel so inclined and you want to rate us, give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to scroll down the bottom, give us a little 5-star review, and then you write a little thing that says like, hey, I like this here podcast. You can do that. And then if you want to shoot us a DM or an email, tell us you did. I'll send you some fucking stickies in the mail. If you want some sticky stocking stuffers, I'll send them to you in the mail, along with, who knows, some other kind of spooky junk as well. We always appreciate that. Before we get into our secret Satan wheel situation, first of all, let me explain to you, for those of you new to the show, first Monday of every month, we do something special we call a showdown episode, where me and Steve and a guest each end up with a movie that we have to argue is the superior movie associated with a particular topic. Maybe it's a subgenre, maybe it's a performer, whatever. But we end up with one normally because we pick it. In December, we do something a little different called Secret Satan, which we'll talk about here in a second. But if you have suggestions for any of those topics, and you want to put them on our big old spinny wheel repository of topics, please send them our way through any of those various avenues that I just talked about a second ago. Now, this is a little different. In December, we do something called Secret Satan, and the rules change every damn year, and that's pretty on par with what you expect from a Satan. He's a trickster, right? If you offer up your soul in exchange for a thing, he's going to pull a little, but he's going to bamboozle you, right? And that's what we like to do in December, and get a little tricky with you. This December, what we're doing is we are allowing some of our listeners to suggest movies that we are going to defend. And then the only direction is they just kind of have to be holiday movies, winter holiday movies. So we got a couple of suggestions. We got a couple of tricky suggestions. Mm-hmm. And then we got a bunch of other stuff we kind of sifted through and put into a smaller version of our typical spinny wheel. But there are some caveats here. These movies could be good. These movies could be hot trash. We have to take into consideration a couple of requests from our patrons over on Patreon. By the way, if you want to wield that type of power on our spinny wheel, if you want to be a patron of Halloween is Forever, go to patreon.com/Halloween is Forever, and you can get some fun stuff. You give us paper monies every month. Get some sweet and spicy, tasty, sticky sweet recos. Steve will do some fun write-ups over there. You get access to our Discord. You could be watching us record this here live, which we oftentimes do. Now, this is early Sunday morning, so this is a very abnormal hour for us to be recording. However, if you do want to watch us live record in the Discord, in our Discord server, it's a lot of fun. We usually do a little chats and answer questions live and comments and stuff like that from our patrons. That's always fun. You go over there and you subscribe. There's 2 tiers, but here's what you got to do. You got to do that $5 tier, because that's where we get our Patreon exclusive podcast. Steve, you want to tell them what that hot, messy shit is all about?
Yeah, on the $5 tier, that's where you get the Discord access, but you also get Family is Forever, the monthly Fast and the Furious podcast where Brian is forced to watch every single one of the Fast and the Furious. Fury.
And then you say, what does that have to do with horror movies, guys? Everything and nothing, because they are not horror movies, but the whole process has been horrifying to me in a real life sense, because it is affecting my life in the negative. It's falling apart, both professionally and in my private life. It is horrifying. If you want to get the whole lowdown, dirty deal, go on over there and check it out. I hate these movies so much. They're fucking horrible. But they are kind of fun to talk about. We are on we just recorded Fast 5. So if you're listening to this, Fast 5 episode is out. So you've got 5 episodes you could go back and listen to, and they're each like 2 or 3 hours long. So if you are looking for some content, if you're looking for some sweet, salty tent here in the month of December, as you're cruising towards the end of the month, or the end of your life in my case, because this is going to ultimately end up in my demise, I'm sure. You've got tons of it over there for $5 a month on the Patreon. You can get that. Like I said, you can also make our lives worse in a series of other ways, including suggestions for our Secret Satan showdown in December. So here we got a bunch of movies, like I said, some good, some bad, all holiday themed, that are on the wheel. Steve, there is a caveat around one particular one that we haven't talked about that is a kind of a top tier pick, right? Is that accurate?
Yes. And the way it went is we put it out to our patrons, and Dan, who's a loyal listener and he's often in the Discord and everything, he said that he wanted Black Christmas 1974 done.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then we said, sure, that's great. And he said his caveat, though, is anybody can do it but Brian, because of Brian and his Halloween puppy obsession.
Yeah, listen, it's not first of all, Dan, fuck you. Second of all, it's not even a puppy movie, so I don't care. I don't want it.
It's not even a puppy.
It's not even a puppy movie. All right, so Dan's taking shots across the bow here. So either Steve or our surprise guest, which we will unleash on the showdown episode. You have to tune in to learn who our surprise guest is. That's going to be going up on the Secret Satan. It's a secret, right? Secret Satan, December. So you're going to have a secret surprise guest that's going to join us on that first Monday in December, which is a week from the day this comes out, December the 4th. But we are going to determine what movie that guest is going to be talking about today. They don't know yet. We don't know yet. We know that either Steve or the guest is going to end up with Black Christmas 74, and then the other two of us are going to end up with something potentially good, potentially god-awful. So, Steve, take it away with the spinny ass wheel. Let's figure out what our Secret Satan fate is here.
Yeah. So we're going to spin for Brian first, and then we'll add in Black Christmas 74.
Great.
Me,
if I get the Black Christmas remake from, like, what is that, 2019 or some shit, 2016, I forget.
Well, there's one from 2019 and there's one from 2006. So
2006. Both of them are trash. I am going to lay in traffic, but that probably is what's going to happen.
Well, you got neither.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You got Await Further Instructions from 2018.
Await Further. I'm writing this down. Instructions 2018. I don't know this movie.
So it's, I believe I've seen it before. I think I have.
Okay.
But it also edges on the sci-fi, I believe.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird, small, internal film. If it's the one I'm thinking of. If it's the one I'm thinking of.
I've seen this cover scrolling through the tubies and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Await Further Instructions follows a family being forced into an obedient experiment by an unearthly entity. A family's surname of Milgram is a reference to the infamous Milgram obedience experiment, while their home is located on Stanford Street is a reference to the Stanford prison experiment. What does this have to do with the holidays? I'm going to need to get that explanation.
You're not reading the right part of the IMDb. You're reading the trivia. No, the storyline. It's Christmas Day.
Oh, I am reading the very first thing that came up in Wikipedia. I thought that was usually when you click it up, IMDb comes up first, but Wikipedia came up first. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm dumb. All right, here it is. I was like, why is it just explaining the title? And okay, a family's Christmas takes a strange turn when they awake to find themselves trapped inside what? And begin receiving mysterious instructions through the television. Okay. All right. We'll check it out, guys. I know nothing about it. None of the performers are really tickling me. This is a suicide mission, guys. I can tell already. But here we are. I will be talking about Await Further Instructions from 2018. Looks interesting. I'll give it a try. Got to be better than the Killing Tree, whatever we're going to.
Oh yeah, it's for sure today. Better than the Killing Tree. I haven't seen it. It's got to be better than the Killing Tree. So
yeah.
All right. So
what's next?
I've taken that off the wheel. So now we're going to spin for me. I've added Black Christmas 1974. Mm-hmm. So it's a possibility that I still get boomed with something bad. If I don't get 74, then oof. Okay.
The guest defaults.
Okay. So the guest will default to Black Christmas 1974.
Okay. What a gift. We're so generous.
Yeah. So
we're so Christmassy.
Our special guest gets Black Christmas 1974, and I have drawn Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, 1987.
I love it. This is just a classic. What is it? 87?
Yeah, 87. Yeah, Part 2.
This is
from 87.
This is Garbage Day, guys.
Garbage Day.
We are here. I'm excited about this, despite the fact that there's no way I'm going to win, unless our guest just botches Black Christmas 74. There's a real layup happening here. But you know what? It is the season for giving, so we're giving our guest a layup. But I'm excited talking about a movie I've never seen before. But Silent Night, Deadly Night 87, or Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is one of the most bizarre movies ever made, really.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, not even amongst Christmas horror, just horror movies in general, it is a bizarre film. If you've not seen it, I'm excited to talk about that. And I'm excited that I don't have to defend it. This is really a best case scenario for your boy here.
Like we said, it's the season of giving, and our guests just got gived a lot.
Yeah, they did. Our guest got gived Black Christmas 74, which is a classic of the holiday horror as well as the slasher genre. Steve's going to talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which is a pile of shit, but a really fun bonkers pile of shit. And then I've got a wild card here in Await Further Instructions from 2018. So get ready to come on over and snuggle up, grab some eggnog, right? Grab a candy cane to stir it with, sit down by the fire and unwrap a big old turd log here as we talk about a couple of movies that one is trash, one's probably trash, and then one good movie. It ain't that how it always goes.
I would say
in the wonderful month of December.
One is infamous bonkers, just nonsense.
Yeah.
Yours is probably just mid, and then you know, and then one classic.
Yeah, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say mine is probably mid, but it could also be hot trash. We will see. I don't know anything about it.
Simply because this movie we're going to talk about now is trash. Like it is up and down trash.
Trash of the highest order. I'm kind of excited to talk about parts of it, but overall, there were giant stretches of it that were horribly boring. Here's what I'll do at the top of the show. We've already spoiled it in saying that it's absolute trash, but here's what I would say. If you're thinking about watching The Killing Tree from 2022, don't. And then go watch
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost. Just go watch Jack Frost, because this is a shit version of Jack Frost from what, 1990?
97 in it? Or no, that's way too late.
90s. No, it's 97.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I remember having this exact conversation because I remember going, how was this made in 97?
Oh,
but
yeah,
it was. It was made in 97.
Yeah, it's 97 because the Michael Keaton Jack Frost is 98. So
Yes.
this one can't. Yeah. The one we really like come out before.
Yeah, right. And we've got Shannon Elizabeth. You've got a Scott McDonald in there. You've just got Christopher Allport. You've got just a great cast of unsung or highly sung, perhaps in some instances, horror performance. We're not talking about Jack Frost, but this is just a way shittier version of Jack Frost. But instead of an anthropomorphic murderous snowman, it's an anthropomorphic murderous Christmas tree, guys. This director, I just found this randomly scrolling through Tubi, and I was like, Killer Christmas Tree, that sounds fun. Steve, have you seen it? No. Okay, let's do it. We're looking for something kind of lighthearted, silly Christmas horror to kick off the holiday season here. I did not realize until I started watching it. This is the guy. I think it's Reese Frake Waterfield. What a British name! Jesus Christ. His name might as well be like Crumpet Sutherford the Fourth or something. He's born in Essex, England. So this is a British production. But he is the guy who did the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, the Winnie the Pooh horror remake thing, which got a lot of buzz when the trailers came out. I had not seen it, but ultimately I heard that it was unwatchable trash, which is like, how can you take a Winnie the Pooh horror movie? I mean, I know how, but like when you see that and the trailer made it look kind of fun, and then apparently it was just awful.
It's empty is what it is. I can't explain how devoid of like fun and interest that movie is. It's just, it's like it's a time vacuum is what it really is. Like you watch it and you go like, it's doing horror movie things, but like, I don't like it.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it was unanimously, from what I saw, unanimously panned. And I remember, like I said, it got a lot of buzz when the trailer came out, because you're like, how bonkers is this? Here's the thing, though. Surprisingly, it's getting a sequel next year. And he is the producer on that. He's got some visual effects credits. As far as director, he is going to direct as well the upcoming Winnie the Pooh movie, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. He directed the first one. He directed a thing earlier this year called Sky Monster, Fire NATO, The Killing Tree, and then a short back in 2014, then nothing until 2022, and all of his acting credits are literally in the last 2 years. There was a movie called The Area 51 Incident that actually didn't get terrible reviews on IMDb, and then The Killing Tree, Fire NATO, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and Sky Monster all are pretty well panned, I would say, but that's not to say they're not fun. But this is the first one I've seen directed by this gentleman, and not off to a good start. This movie, I'll say, I did not recognize any of the cast. They're all painfully British. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Like they probably, just looking really briefly at some of, where the cast worked here, they are all basically British, low budget, straight to TV or VOD type of productions is what they're mostly doing.
Yeah, so
that's kind of what I can tell.
Yeah, the first thing this movie starts out with is like my biggest red flag, and that's the Uncorked Media logo. I don't know how many of these movies you've seen, but like Uncorked Media is they're somehow worse than like when you see the Full Moon features or the like the Roger Corman New World Media. Like when you see those logos, there's a certain charm you kind of expect. Uncorked Media, their movies are generally charmless. They're like
I don't think I've seen anything. I mean, I feel like I've heard of Uncorked Media. I don't know that I've ever watched anything or knowingly watched anything. I feel like these are the types of movies I would put on in the background because the title intrigued me, but then I don't actually watch because they're very boring and they just end up being on in the background. Charmless is a great way to describe it. They're just like in the way that Jack Frost was made with love and given a lot more attention and effort than it deserved, probably than the premise deserved.
Right.
This feels like it was made to support a coke habit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not. No one cares about the production, and they're just, let's make a movie. We have this amount of time to make that movie, and then I hope that it ends up being a movie.
Yeah, it's some sort of like quick paycheck and then tax dodge, and then Uncorked Media is just a distributor. They'll just they'll just buy up the rights to anything to increase their catalog to put things out, and then I don't know, they get a kickback from Tubi every time somebody stumbles on one of these films. I don't know.
Yeah. Like this is the modern equivalent of the straight to VHS, straight to DVD. Thing that we saw in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, where they're just trying to sell. I mean, this movie's god awful, and they're just selling it with a decent cover that you're going to hit when you scroll through Tubi. And it does. It's actually kind of cool. There's like a skull thing, on the Christmas tree and the Killing Tree. It's a great, concise title that tells you right away what's going to happen. The Killing Tree. The original title, by the way, was Demonic Christmas Tree, which is even more on the on the nose. They called it just the Killing Tree, which either one gets the point across. But if it was called Demonic Christmas Tree, I probably would have chuckled when I went past it but not watched it. But the Killing Tree, for whatever reason, very strategically titled. It sounds like somebody maybe cares a little bit more.
It sounds like it's a reverse parody. Even though this is a Christmas movie, it's a reverse parody of the book The Giving Tree.
Oh, yeah, that too. Sure.
So that's probably why the name got changed, because it's like, oh, that has just like that little twinge of recognition of like, you're even saying just now, you didn't notice it. I noticed it. I was like, yeah, The Killing Tree. That sounds funny, like The Giving Tree, but with death.
Yeah. Nope. They duped me because it's a piece of shit. But yeah, so this is a situation very much like, but instead of toxic waste, it's a demon seance situation or demon ceremony situation that puts the soul and consciousness of a killer into an inanimate object. But instead with Jack Frost, where it's Michael Myers type murderer, unkillable, unstoppable killing machine. This is more of I would say a Hellraiser, even a Nightmare on Elm Street type of killer. He's not as charismatic as Freddy, but he does say bitch a lot. So that's kind of where I think that's where the connections to Freddy end. Anyway,
this opening scene kind of got me. Like they did a lot with the lighting. They did some fun camera moves with the camera twisting down the hallway. I was like, wait, is Uncorked Media like putting out okay movies sometimes?
Yeah.
And then they get to the seance part and it's like, oh, why is there a fucking Star of David on the ground? Did they not do any sort of research at all? This like nobody recognized. Yeah, it's not even the hexagram that Aleister Crowley used for his fucking sex magic. It's just a straight up Star of David. And they're like, meh, that looks evil, right? And it's like, did you guys fuck this up somehow?
Yeah, they did. They sure did. And I wrote the same thing. I was like, the production value in these like early sequence, I was like, is actually better than expected. I mean, the scene drags, but the production value early on is better than expected. And I'm like, oh, this might be kind of fun. But all that goes out the window pretty quickly. Just to set up who we have here, there's this murderous, like they come across as like they're this ultra religious couple who is basically almost have like a Sam from Trick or Treat complex where like but around Christmas and people aren't celebrating Christmas the right way. So we're going to kill people who aren't celebrating Christmas the right way. That's kind of what the vibe you get. But ultimately, they're like super religious, but then ultimately it's just a revenge thing. So like their motivation doesn't matter at all, and never really comes into play either, besides the revenge element of it. But you've got Clayton and Morgan. They're the crazy murderous couple. And they had you come to learn they had gone on like a killing spree where they were going to try to kill like 12 families, which never really comes to fruition either. On Christmas Eve or around Christmas, perhaps. And because these people all have demonstrated some sort of, I don't know, they don't respect Christmas, or they demonstrate character traits that are opposed to their beliefs revolving around Christmas. It's so convoluted and it's never explained properly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. And like, it would be interesting if you wrote it as like they were doing the old like pagan black mass of like,
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, if they were following like the original intention of Christmas, which was like, pagan black mass, or even something druidic, since we're over in the crooked teeth aisles, like if we're
crooked teeth, or just like, because we're talking about Christmas trees, and like Christmas trees have their origins far, from what I understand, and I might be wrong here, but like far predating Christianity, right? Like this was, Christmas trees go way back. So you could have tied it to the history of, pagan or druidic cults or something worshiping nature.
Yeah, I thought like Christmas trees were tied back to like Scandinavian in origin. But I could be wrong about that. But I mean, like, Scandinavians have their whole like Yule feast. You could have tied it to that. They could have been like Viking killers in some way. But no, what you get is an old lady and a guy who looks like Geddy Lee dressed up as Ozzy Osbourne. God. It's the fucking craziest thing.
I said Geddy Lee dressed up and has the posture of Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
But yes, we both wrote down almost the exact same thing. That's funny, but not surprising, because it looks like he's going as Geddy Lee for Halloween. That's how Geddy Lee he is. Like the glasses, the hair, it's Geddy Lee. Yeah. Or dressed as a more decrepit rock star.
Yeah. It's like if Geddy Lee going to a Halloween party in a hurry, and then he had to dress as Aleister Crowley, he just threw on like a couple black things and put some more necklaces on.
Or he's like hunchbacked, or he's kind of like, he's like the guy, he's like Riff Raff from Rocky Horror. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking bad. It's bad. But ultimately what we learn is that because of this killing spree they did, he was ultimately put to death. This girl, Faith, ended up helping him to get caught, although we never find out how. And he had murdered, among other people, Faith's parents. Faith ended up getting him like prosecuted, and then he was killed by the state. So he was executed by the state. And now his wife Morgan is giving a whole satanic ritual situation in order to resurrect him, so they can have their revenge on the people that just, I guess, fought back against their murdering, which again is one of those questionable motives here.
I guess that's where the Nightmare on Elm Street kind of tie comes in, because now he's just just getting revenge for being stopped from being a killer.
Yeah, this is more Freddy like by the second here, actually. But Cockney Freddy, which we'll get to in a little bit. Unfollowable Cockney Freddy. We get a tree POV pretty quickly here. And I'm like, hey, I'm kind of excited early on, honestly. I'm like, you get a tree looking in the mirror and seeing that he's a tree and going, what the fuck? And then just kills his wife. But then immediately is remorseful, but then still blames other people for her death when he is the one who physically kills her with his branches. And she just bleeds out on the carpet. He's like, I'm mad. That's it. It's a mad Christmas tree. And like I said, there is a specific girl that was the one who put him in jail or then and ultimately, caused him to be caught and executed. And he's blaming her for the death of his wife, who he literally just physically killed 5 seconds ago. So I'm like, oh, it's literally just a guy in I hesitate to say Christmas tree costume. It's just a person wrapped in a fake Christmas tree with lights and some garland.
It's not so much a tree as it is like a tall topiary.
A bush. It's a bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bush with Christmas lights and some garland on it. And we see this is the best part of this movie. The whole joke. It's not a joke. It's played earnestly, although there is quite a bit of like tongue in cheek type of stuff here. But the joke from a viewer's perspective that I enjoyed is you see this just a fucking bush that you oftentimes do see shuffling feet underneath it. Like at one point you get a very clear view of a boot, a boot, a man's boot. And then human hands sometimes come out of this.
Yes.
And there is one instance where you see just a black glove pop out of the tree and a human hand tying something around someone's neck. So that's very corny and dumb. But I like the conceit that there's a person in that.
Yeah.
And like that was fun. But then most of the kills you actually get are a giant, monstrous PlayStation 2 style CGI Christmas monster that is anywhere between 8 and 30 feet tall.
Conservatively, I mean, it's at least 2 stories tall at one point for no reason at all.
At one point, it's like 50 feet tall for no reason. Yeah.
It's as big as the house that they're hiding in. And it's like, what the fuck? Pick a size.
Well, and then the juxtaposition of going from that to person shuffling in a quote unquote Christmas bush costume and then back to 50-foot tall Christmas monster, and it's supposed to be the same thing, which is really funny.
Yeah.
That's the best part, honestly, of the movie. It's
I'm just so confused as to whether or not they did this, because the director is also the visual effects supervisor.
Yeah.
So like but
it's also his co-cat. It's his co-cabot though.
Yeah. So I feel like
we're supporting here.
I assume he knows when he's making a 50-foot tree on his, like whatever Maya or ZBrush.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, it looks fucking awesome. And then did he do that first and then get on set and go, oh, whoops.
Well, here's the shameful part. Like he said, is normally you can see in some of these movies where the director and the performers clearly don't know what, like a Halloween Puppy.
Yeah.
AKA a Halloween Puppy Adventure, AKA a Magic Puppy from 2012. Go check it out, guys, on YouTube. Like that, you could tell the director, the performers had no idea what the effects were going to be.
Right.
Like at one point, that one kid clearly thought there were going to be like octopus arms or something, and there weren't. So it's just like you can't blame the performers, the director, because like everything they were going to do later was just going to get shoehorned in. In this instance, the guy directing also is in charge of this stuff, which makes it more shameful. Yeah.
It's and honestly, this is the worst. It's the worst part of the film, because like early on in the film, I think both Brian and I were pretty excited at the prospect of a Jack Frost-like killer, and then all the creative ways that he can kill people being a tree, just same way Jack Frost uses ice in creative ways to kill people. But they just reduce everything down to these weird tree vines, which doesn't make any sense. And
it's like they're tentacles.
Yeah.
It's a tentacle effect, but he makes it look like it is either branches or really they look more like vines. So I got to assume it would be more like roots.
Yeah.
But it is, it is tree root tentacles.
Yeah, which just sucks, because like they give up so many opportunities for other things to be creative, being a tree and being a Christmas tree specifically.
there could be 100 things you do with the different types of ornaments, all that stuff. But yeah, they literally at one point, the tree dispatches, I'm going to say about 6 people at once. And they treat it, you could tell the direction was run out there and pretend you are shot.
Right.
And they use the vines as like they shoot out and just stick in people's chests. And then that's how those people all die. But when I first saw the tree fleeing from the mansion, I was like, oh, shit. All right. This might be kind of fun. But then it's not at all fun. And I mean, there might be like one other part that's kind of fun. But yeah, I didn't bank on I banked on bad CGI. I banked on, a killer Christmas tree in a costume. But I didn't bank on how painfully British this movie was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's British mumblecore to the point where like there are whole bits of dialogue where I had the closed captions on, I had the subtitles on, and I still couldn't follow the conversation because the sound design's bad.
Yes.
They're mumbling and they're so Cockney that I just can't follow any of it.
Yeah. I was wondering if like this was just me or not, but like their manner of speaking sounds what I imagine to be very working class, but they're in very lavish settings.
Yes, that's this big posh mansion. It just reeks of a porn set again. I mean, not to go back to the Halloween Puppy, aka Halloween Puppy Adventure, aka Magic Puppy, but it feels like they are porn actors on a porn set. So like there is a weird juxtaposition of people being put in a lavish environment that don't know how to act there. That's what porn is, right? That's what a porn set is. Like these people were like, they were working at, no disrespect, but these people were like working at the gas station 5 seconds ago, and now you put them in this big mansion and they're like, act normal, and they're like, oi, where's the toilet?
Yeah.
I need to get a drink, and they're just like, oh wait, you don't belong in this setting. You're white trash.
I gotta go hit the shitter, do I?
Yeah, and they're like, no, act more posh.
No, be cool in the setting. It's like, oh, me and my lesbian girlfriend's gonna go have a bake out, is we?
Yeah, they're all chimney sweeps. But it's like, also the one thing we say about I did say about the story here's the way they write it and the way that it's edited together, and it's not even edited together. It's written this way.
Yeah,
it feels like it's part of a sequel we didn't see the original movie of.
Right.
Like all the backstory and all this stuff they talk about. And so then they tell you about it and then they show you in a flashback. But they're so cryptic about the way they talk about it. And the dialogue's so unclear that you are like, did I miss something? Because I'm having trouble following it. And then they go back and show you with a flashback. And you just, I guess you didn't have to do both. You could have done one or the other, I guess. But you do get a flashback to, it was only last Christmas. So it's funny because this literally happened last year and they're already having a Christmas party the next year. So if your parents got murdered on Christmas, I feel like the next Christmas you wouldn't have a Christmas party. Maybe just wait 1 year at least. But Clayton and Morgan kill Faith's parents, and you show them they just creep into the house, and like I said, imagine Geddy Lee with the posture of Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show, just like tiptoeing in to a house with a big kitchen knife, the little tiny Geddy Lee circle glasses, like necklaces. Like I said, he's kind of dressed as a little bit like Steve said, like Ozzy Osbourne, but then it's just. He's just tiptoeing in going, oi, I'm going to kill him, I is. And then his wife's just in tow behind him like, yeah, you go kill him. And then they just go in and kill the parents. Yeah. And it's like, it's all pretty much off-screen kills, stabbings and stuff. We didn't mention that the killer is like, he's like, I'm going to guess, I don't know, the Indian, perhaps Pakistani, I'm not sure. But so he looks like an Indian and or, like I said, Pakistani or something, Geddy Lee, but with a super Cockney accent. and like I said, his wife just kind of tagging along behind him, really playing no consequential role in any of the murders.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I imagine like it's because this actor, his name's Marcus Massey, and I think he's worked on a number of these productions that like, yeah, it looks like he's done like work before with the Reese Waterfield, and then so like he just kind of keeps coming back. Like he's in Winnie the Pooh as well. And he's in like a movie called Snake Hotel, which was also produced by Reese. So yeah,
I saw Snake Hotel, and I would be lying to you if I wasn't slightly intrigued by Snake Hotel.
Yeah.
I got to assume it's just kind of a rip off of Snakes on a Plane, but it's just a hotel ridden with snakes. I'm excited about it. Like I might watch that. And that says a lot about me that I don't care to admit.
Also, apparently he works in the sound department on a lot of, as the boom operator on a lot of films. Not this one, but he was on Sky Monster as the sound recordist. So
there you go.
He does a lot of double duty. You know, you get the most out of what you get out of some people. So yeah.
He tries his asshole. He tries his like as hard as he possibly can. He really is trying to deliver these lines. Like I said, it's not good. It is, again, I hate to bring it up, but it is when he's the tree, the voiceover acting is reminiscent of a Halloween Puppy, aka Great Halloween Puppy Adventure, aka a Magic Puppy, because he as like, what's that guy's name? Eric
Roberts.
What's the guy from them? Eric Roberts, because he's just like mumbling a bunch of stuff over now with more effort than Eric Roberts did, certainly, but it's just like, I'm going to kill you. I've been trying to kill you, and then I am going to eventually kill you. Like, it's just saying that in a bunch of different phrases.
Yeah.
As the tree's stalking.
Yeah, I don't want to completely blame him on this because, like, he is delivering lines. What happens is I think they realized that they had too much, like, dead sound. And so what they did is they took his multiple takes of saying the same thing and just like so it sounds like he's repeating himself over and over, and it sounds bad and it sounds stupid, but they're just trying to fill essentially dead air of the film. Yeah.
There's very little music in this as well. Oddly enough, there's just a lot of just silence and yeah, like if his, there are whole sequences that if his little like mumblings as a tree weren't laid over it, it would just feel like just silence and or very little ambient sound picked up in the background. But you get introduced to Faith's friends. There's Louisa, who is apparently like, she's like kind of the best friend. She's a sex worker, which never comes, isn't that they make a big deal of talking about that, but it's not of any type of consequence here. She could have been anything. It doesn't really make any difference. You get we get a minute before we're introduced to the other ones, but you just get this long sequence of like, hey, you're gonna have fun tonight, even though your parents got murdered at Christmas last year. Like, you need to get drunk and have fun. And Faith is reluctant. That's all we learned here, but that scene takes 10 minutes. The tree is lost, which I like. The tree it just showed a tremendous amount of, like, I hesitate to use the phrase athleticism, swinging and jumping. It's very agile when it's a CGI tree, but when it's a live tree, it literally shuffles at like half a mile an hour. So we now get shuffling tree that's just on a country lane, and two people who basically say, or no, at this point, it's trying to read a map.
Right.
The tree is reading a map, which now I'm kind of excited too, because I'm like, oh, this is going to be really, really silly.
Yeah.
Like, we have a tree trying to read a map, but then it never comes back to the silliness.
No, it doesn't. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm still all in at this point for like Jack Frost silliness, because it's a tree reading a map, and then he's approached by a town drunk who I just guess wanders through backyards.
Yeah. And we get a quick flashback at this point to, again, Clayton and Morgan talking about why they kill people. It doesn't make any difference. There's no reason for this scene. But they're going to decide that they're going to kill 12 families, whatever. The tree, this is where you see that the tree has the CGI tentacle roots because it dispatches of the drunk with the CGI tentacle roots. And you're like, oh, okay, we're gonna do CGI tentacle kills. That's lame, but all right. But there wasn't even like a little root pun or anything.
No.
Like that'll root out your problems, like anything. Like I really thought that was going to be the case. They don't do any. They are anti-fun. This movie is anti-fun.
Yeah.
Is basically it. Like anytime there's an opportunity to have fun, they
don't
whiff.
They say no, let's be prim and proper.
Yeah, like let's try to be serious. Again, this is just reeks of like people who have no sense of humor at all. So there's a couple attending a party. They're an older couple who doesn't match the vibe of the party, which are all like the worst people on a porn set. It's just all super douches at this party, except for this one elderly couple who apparently the guy was dad's fishing buddy. And there's a great line here where it's, Faith was not at her own party. She was just hanging out up in her room. She comes downstairs and is like, oh, why are you guys leaving so early? And they're like, it's getting late. Just like, wait, is it early or is it late? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's literally these side lines right back to back. And it doesn't matter. They leave, right? So okay, they're going to go get killed outside somewhere. You have this drunk girl arguing with her girlfriend and just like kind of gaslighting her. And it's like, I don't know. The one girl is clearly a friend. The one girl is like her toxic girlfriend. It doesn't matter. Then there's this big gag. Like they try to make it a gag, but there's this big sequence where they're trying to get Faith to have fun. And they're mad because she's not getting drunk. And they said, you're going to have one glass. And she was like, I am having one glass. But then she pulls out a giant comically large wine glass and like brims it to the top. And it's literally that bit from like that Friday Night Lights sketch that who's the comedian? She had her own show for a while. I can't want to say Sarah Silverman. It's not Sarah Silverman. Anyway, like it's just a bit, like a Comedy Central bit from like a show. And but they don't really play it for laughs. It's really drawn out. And it's just like these people are so painfully unfunny that it just comes across like you're not really sure that they were even trying to be funny in the first place.
Yeah. It's like they saw a joke, but this sequence is so drawn out and the girl is so annoying about it. Because like they're doing the same back and forth dialogue repeatedly, and I guess they're trying to show the entire room of like all the people in the room. But it takes so long to travel the room that now the joke is unfunny because we've seen the large glass all this time, and she's filling the glass painfully long, and it's like, no, just quick cut this stuff together. Like, bop, bop, bop. Here's your big, silly glass of wine. Get the drinking,
Yeah, it's Amy Schumer, by the way. I couldn't remember her name.
Oh, okay.
There's like a sequence. It's like a sketch from Amy Schumer's sketch show where she's playing like somebody from Friday Night Lights and they keep having like larger and larger wine glasses until they're comically large. And that's like, it's that bit. But again, like you said, it's these people don't have they're not funny, so they don't know why things are funny or how to make them funny.
Right.
But anyway, we get another flashback. Basically, she comes home and finds her parents dead. That's all that happens. We already knew they were killed. We didn't need this.
No. You don't need any of these flashbacks because like they set it up perfectly in the opening scene of like, here's this killer, Clayton Slater. And he killed all these people, and then this is the last victim that's still alive, and he's going to go get her. None of this other stuff matters because they never bring in like the actual holiday traditions. They don't do, so it's just like padding. It's all padding, and it's unnecessary, and it's crazy editing that just makes your brain go, I don't know what I'm watching.
Yeah.
Turn it off. Who cares?
It's so boring. It just makes it so boring to me. But there is a sequence now where there's this redheaded party goer, and she's so bad at delivering lines, but she's like simultaneously doing too much. and not enough. Like she's doing too much body language, but she's not saying the lines clearly or loudly. And of course the sound design's bad. So I just found myself like having to rewind because I couldn't understand or hear anything she was saying. But it's all not of any consequence. It's just her and her boyfriend like gossiping about Faith's situation. And so anyway, that we get introduced to these two characters there. There's a scene where the older couple who just left the party pull up, and the tree is like, oh, there's a car, and it tries to stand still in the middle of the road, but the tree can't stand still because it's a person balancing in the tree outfit with its legs like too close together. And it's funny that that's all a tree should be able to do, but it can't stand still. And it can also hear the conversation they're having inside the car somehow. Because
it needs to, because the script said so.
Yeah. Well, and also this is when you see the trees shoes. The tree is wearing shoes, human shoes underneath, because
the car's lights are on them.
Which I was like, oh boy, okay. So I'm still holding out some hope at this point that something might be fun. And then it kills the husband with its tentacles, which is lame. But then it strangles the wife with Christmas lights. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of a little bit fun.
Yeah.
But then we find that those are literally its only two moves. Actually, three. It has three moves. It has just stab you in the chest with the tree tentacles. It has strangle you with Christmas lights, and it has one more finishing move, which it overuses, which we'll talk about in a second. But like I said, we get more of the sex worker friend who's supposed to be the comic relief here, but no one in this movie's ever been funny before in their whole life. So.
I got lost as to like who the fuck was who, because basically all of the women, with the exception of the brunette Becky, then there's our hero Faith, who's in the Santa costume.
Yeah, and Becky's the sex worker friend. Yeah.
And then there's the redhead girl who's Wish.com Emma Stone, and then
sure.
Then everybody else is blonde, and I'm just like, which one are you?
Well, the gay couple, they are both blonde.
Yeah, and then there's another one.
One of them's timid. Is there even? I didn't even remember another one.
Yeah, there's another one.
Sense.
Yeah,
they just blend together. There is one scene here which I made funny on my own because it wasn't funny in the movie. But the tree gets into the car and drives away, which immediately to me harkened back. I immediately thought, for God's sakes, he can't even drive. Well, he was doing very well last night. Maybe someone around here gave him lessons. I immediately got Loomis. Loomis spoke up in my mind, and how that would have been such a perfect time for them to do a Halloween reference. But of course, not only is that a stretch, but they couldn't. They're not capable of doing anything funny. So, and then here's another example of this is porn set funny, right? When somebody who's really dumb and not funny wants to be funny, you put on a silly hat. That's what unfunny people think is funny. It's like what a child thinks is funny.
Right.
Like if a child's upset, you take like a mug and put it in your head and go, haha, I have a mug on my head. And then the kid goes, because they're dumb little kids. That's also what these people do. So they're like, we need a funny scene. What would be funny? Oh, let's put one of the characters in a funny costume, and they have one of them dress up as a Christmas cracker, which if you aren't British, you also won't know what a Christmas cracker is. And I barely know what a Christmas cracker is, but I get it's like a little thing you pull apart and it makes noise. It's almost like a little noisemaker thing that might have a little present in it.
Yep.
That is an old British tradition.
Yeah. There's a great, if you go back to, it's either last year or 2 years ago, we did that anthology film Deathcember that has a bunch of little short films. The best short film in that package is a Christmas cracker. And it's okay. I don't want to spoil anything about it. It's a short film. You can also just find it online. I think it's called The Christmas Cracker. Look it up. It's a hilarious, fantastic short film. Like, it's everything this film isn't. It's funny. It's short. It's well realized. It's well written. It's gory. It's fantastic.
I barely remember it, but that's probably subconsciously why I knew what a Christmas cracker was. But I still had to Google it to confirm. Is a Christmas cracker? Is that what the thing's called? Yep. Anyway, you get these like long walk scenes outside with various characters just explaining their relationships and backstories to each other, which we don't care about at all. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm starting to lose faith in the movie. And I'm going, why are we not having a more killer Christmas tree? Like, go watch Jack Frost. And that would be much more exciting. You have the old redheaded mumbler and her boyfriend are walking outside by the pool, and they're talking about how cold it is. But then they quickly strip down to bathing suits. They had bathing suits on. It's not underwear. It's bathing suits. And they have like a little mattress, and they're getting ready to fuck by the pool. It's freezing, clearly. They were just talking about how cold they were with clothes on, but they strip down to bathing suits and decide they're going to fuck beside the pool. But the tree lurks up on them. This is maybe the only fun kill scene of the movie. It's not that fun. Yeah, it's not that. Oh, it could have been way better, but like for a second, I was like, okay, whatever. So the Christmas lights are kind of creeping up, which I liked. Okay, now we got little creeping Christmas lights coming up. Wraps around her leg. She is like on top of him, but apparently she doesn't notice, and she jumps up and is like, "Who's there?" And it's like, "Don't you have lights around your leg? We just saw that, but you didn't notice." And then they see the Christmas tree. This is scary. The boyfriend tries to run away.
Well, hold on. Because it's really the reveal that's the best part of the scene. Is that the tree? It's back to the guy in the shrub costume, and it's kind of squatted down, and then it stands up, and the lights on it turn on. Which like, I like that. It's funny, but because it's like, it does look like part of the background. And then he just stands up and the lights turn on, but you can still tell it's maybe a 6.5 foot tree. Maybe. Maybe. And this would be the time where if you're there, you go, oh, this is funny. This is one of our friends doing a funny joke on us. Not, oh my God, a Christmas tree run, you know? Yeah.
But they immediately detect danger, whereas a human person would just go, oh, are you being a silly? You're dressing up as a Christmas tree. I mean, it clearly it is a human in a Christmas tree getup. But the boyfriend just runs, and then the tree Kevin McAllister's him by throwing some Christmas bulbs on the ground, and he slips and falls on one of them. And then he gets dunked in the pool, and he's like kind of like water torturing him, like dunking him in the pool and pulling him back up and just saying mean things, and then picks him up with his tree tentacles, because now we have CGI tree, and CGI tree rips the boyfriend in half. Yeah. Like at the waist. And I was like, oh, then nothing really that violent had happened up until that point, which was kind of funny.
You know what this looked like? And I wonder if this was reused or something. I don't know. But it reminded me exactly of Children of the Corn 2020, when that woman gets ripped in half. And I was like, is this just like a reused asset or something? Or did they, like, I don't know. It felt so like familiar, but also, I don't know, maybe they did do it on their own.
Yeah, it did feel like that. But then the girlfriend gets killed in the pool house, essentially like off screen. You just see like blood splatter against the pool house window, and there's this extended thing of the girl in the pool house, and the killer just going like, "I'm gonna get you. I got you trapped in a pool house. I'm gonna get you. Yeah. I'm gonna kill you now." And it could be a little bit more. It could have been a little bit more fun, but it's. Like I said, it's still probably the best kill sequence of the movie, and they pretty much botched it.
Yeah, it's because like whoever wrote lines for the tree actor, they didn't give him any Christmas puns really. They didn't give him enough lines to make anything make sense or have value, and they just simply didn't give him enough, because now you're at this scene and the tree is just rubbing up against this door going, "Come here, bitch, I got you now, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna enjoy you, bitch."
A lot. Yeah.
And it's just like, Jesus already. Before we move away from this scene, even though it's bad, I just wanted to point out the actress who's, the Wish.com Emma Stone. She has done 12 movies this year, including Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Sky Monster, which, the other one we mentioned. She also is in Mary Had a Little Lamb, which is a horror film of some sort. And
well, they do a Peter Pan one too. Like, it sounds like they're just grabbing old public domain stuff and making horror movies about it.
Sure, yeah, because she's also in Three Blind Mice. Could be based off that, and then also Monster NATO.
Monster NATO is one of those ones where I know I'm intrigued by the premise because I'm a sucker for it, but it's horrible. It's undoubtedly horrible. It's like Clown NATO, I'm sure. We were like, how can this not be good? And it just really, really isn't. So yeah, now there's this scene that makes no sense at all, and I would love to not talk about it, but I feel like we can't not talk about it. You get so you have the girl dressed up as the Christmas cracker and Faith, and she's got something to tell her. I don't know that we ever find out what that thing is.
We do not.
But she's going to give her hints about what the secret that she's going to tell her is. And the way they're going to do this is by going out to the tennis courts. Faith is going to get blindfolded. The friend is going to hit tennis balls at her. And then for everyone she's able to hit blindfolded, she gets a hint of what the secret is.
Yeah.
And my question is, what?
It's the most convoluted padding bullshit I've ever seen pulled off in a film, because like you said, or do we ever figure out what the secret? No, we don't know anything that happens ever. It's purely to waste your fucking time. And I was so, this is where I was just automatically, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out at this point. Yeah, like I said, I went from like optimistic to okay to fuck off. I'm out in about 5 minutes. Like, it all fell apart really fast. And this is, I get this because I've seen other movies that follow this kind of thing where it's like they spend all of their effort in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and it's almost like they get the algorithm or something regarding like the pay structure of these streaming movies. They get some sort of additional benefit by if people watch it for more than like 5 or 10 minutes. But if they stop it in the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, then it reflects poorly on them.
Right.
So like there's these movies where they're just literally like, if we can make this kind of entertaining for like 15 minutes, then we'll just shit in your mouth after that. And then either you're going to hang on because that's what you're going to do, or you're going to fuck off. And at this point, we don't care.
Exactly. And it's almost like the way like a lot of YouTube videos get structured as well. Because like YouTube videos, I think if they go past, it's changed over the years, but it's like if you go past a certain point, then you can hit ad breaks. And if you hit the ad break, then the ad break comes on. So like at this point we watched it on Tubi, I assume. And
yes. No, I bought the special edition DVD with commentary.
I don't know. Well, it's also on Amazon Prime, so
no. I watched it on Tubi.
Yeah,
I watched it on Tubi. So I did have to watch the ads.
Yeah, so you do hit the ad breaks on Tubi, but like, yeah, that's the thing is like if you structure it to a point where like, hey, you get somebody to an ad break, then it's better for you, and maybe you get an extra payout or something like that. So yeah, it's a terribly cynical way of looking at filmmaking, but I can only assume that's the way it happens because everything else in this film matters so fucking little and just isn't worth sitting around for.
No, not at all. You've 15 minutes in and it's like pretty much the movie's over. She takes the blindfold off of the stupid little game that makes no sense. And the tree has the friend and she just goes, "Oh no, please." And rips her in half with the exact same animation as they did to the other friend's boyfriend a minute ago. But the tree's 10 times bigger for some reason. It makes no sense, which we've talked about. The inconsistency of the size and effectiveness of this tree. Faith goes back into the party and just does a real bad job of explaining to the party full of, again, the sketchiest people on the porn set what had just happened. And they're just like, bye, Faith, you're crazy. But as they're all leaving together, they're intercepted by the tree and killed. So I mean, again, this is really scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I thought it was just going to be like, hey, we're all going to leave. Bye. And now you have an empty house with just a few actors that you only have to pay and that actually have to have lines. But they actually do they do, when they didn't have to, they did kill off all the party goers, which was like, okay, none of it's good. They just, again, they instructed them to go outside and then at a point scatter and pretend you're being shot,
right? And
the tree will just stab you. But there is one where there's somebody in a car and the tree like stabs through the roof of the car and kills them. Who cares? But like it was less than zero effort. It was like a 1 or a 2, rather than a 0 in effort.
Yeah. Everybody could have just left peacefully, and then you would have had the 3 or 4 actors left. But yeah, I guess they did attempt something, but it's just, it's too little too late.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to give it credit. I'm just saying they did a 1 or 2 effort instead of 0. So, okay, kudos. But here's maybe the line that I'm going to say that makes the entire movie worth it from a watch perspective, because it does only run like an hour and 10 minutes. So for what it's worth, it is short, which is good. It should have been 20 minutes, or 15 minutes, but instead it is an hour and 10 minutes. But, for a feature length film, it's about as short as you can get, which I'll take. But the sentence is, now the Christmas tree kills the power, which I love. That's one of my favorite tropes, is when something kills the power to the house. I love that trope, and especially if it's like an inanimate object or a doll or something where it's like, how would that thing kill the power? I like that trope. Yeah. That's funny to me. So for a Christmas tree to kill the power is funny to me, even though they probably are so unfunny that they didn't even understand why that's a little bit funny.
Right. Because he's also still lit up too.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was lit up when he was walking down the street. Yeah, so it's but Tina is the one who gets it next. She was the mean girlfriend who was kind of gaslighting the other girl. Anyway, she runs outside and just gets basically stabbed with tentacles. Right?
She got decapitated. Right?
Oh, she did get decapitated, but it was like it was a non. That makes it sound like it was more impactful than it was. The only fun thing about it is that you do get the quick look of what the CGI model of her looks like before she's killed, and it looks like Gumby. Yeah. Like it doesn't even slightly resemble her. It looks like Gumby with a skin that was the color of her dress. Yeah. And then tentacle to the head. Yeah. Basically.
And it's a shame because like, this was a point where it looks like it was supposed to be a spinning tentacle of some sort, like a ninja star almost. And I was like, why isn't this the star topper on the tree spinning through the air and then cutting her head off, and then her head lands in the bird bath? And it's like, okay, you almost had it. Yeah. Someone threw you a beach ball. You were holding a tennis racket and you whiffed. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it is. It's almost like, imagine at the end of the tentacle, there's like 4 or 5 little spikes that are like kind of almost look like they could be spinning. But yeah, they just completely whiff on it. It's like the guy who was doing the effects was like, looked at his calendar and was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to have that done today. I've got 3 hours. Just crank it out, as quick as I can. What can I find that looks like this?
cheap and dirty. Yeah. The friends are all pretty accepting of the killer tree monster. Like, they're not actually that. They're just like, damn it, killer tree monster. All right, let's remain calm. Like, they're just treating it like it's a regular home invasion situation, but it's a killer tree monster. One friend finds the tactical shotgun from Jurassic Park in the cupboard.
Yeah.
There's no explanation of why that's the case. It would have been like, you could have had a line in there that's like, oh, she bought that after the killing of her parents, or like, oh, that's from, I don't know, anything. But no, it's like, it's literally the movie set shotgun from Jurassic Park, like pistol grip, giant tactical shotgun, and she just finds it in the cupboard. Cool.
I feel like it's a really like British commentary on like this is like a conservative British house where like they really, really want to be American and have American guns, but like they can't buy ARs or anything, so what they buy is the most tactical ass shotgun that they can have.
yeah perhaps yeah this is the closest thing that you can legally buy to being kind of like an American like, gun nut. So the tree just shuffles into the house. She shoots it with the shotgun, and the tree goes, "I'm bulletproof too." Which I did laugh at, and then goes, "Come here, bitch!" And then this is again. There's more bitch. There's more Freddy Tree, and he hangs the friend that has the relationship problems that the girlfriend just got decapitated. He hangs her with Christmas lights, and it's like, okay, you've done the Christmas light thing a couple of times now. You've done the rip in half thing a couple of times now. Like, the only thing that could have saved this a little bit is if you got some fun, creative kills with a Christmas tree, and now it's like, all hope of that actually happening is out the window now. But this is one of my favorite parts, because this is where you see, because there are other times where you are very much, it is communicated that the branches on the tree are his arms. He's holding a knife at one point, which is very funny because we've established that he has projectiles and spinning roots and basically this like all-powerful monster powers, but instead chooses to hold a kitchen knife, and it's a funny scene. It's a funny look. But at this point, when the tree is tying the lights around the one friend's neck, you actually see a black gloved human hand come out and do it, and they don't even try to hide it at all. And he's getting more cockney as the music progresses, because at some point he's just is almost like a slightly almost like that prim and proper type of British accent early in the movie. And then by this point, he's like, it calls her a little witless bin.
Yeah. He calls her a bint. It's like, oh, wow. That's super deep.
I don't even know what that means. I have no idea what that means.
It's not even like that. I mean, it's just like, it means girl. Like, it's not like it's not like super derogatory, but it's just such deep slang that, you know, only British people are going to get it. Like, you think she's getting called something terrible, but no.
Yeah, well, he's spitting it out in this super cockney accent. Like I said, he's just getting progressively more cockney. I just thought it was something really crass, but apparently no.
Yeah, it's like kind of crass, but it's not like calling her a C word, or it's not.
It's like calling her twit or something. It seems like
or maybe a broad. A broad is probably the good analogy.
Gotcha. So then the tree sees another Christmas tree and assumes it's his wife. And it's like, Morgan, is that you? And it's like, she didn't get turned into a tree. What are you talking about?
You didn't do the ceremony, dummy.
You did. It's such a scene that only exists if the filmmakers don't care about the movie at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, why would the killer think that the other tree is his wife? Does it think trees are his wives now? Is because it's becoming more like a tree than a killer trapped in a tree. Why would it think that? It doesn't make any sense. And then when it it tips over the tree and it sees it's just a tree. It's like, ah,
It's so upset.
it's so mad.
In a funnier, more disrespectful movie, it would bang the tree.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, there are things, because we're used to Jack Frost. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're thinking this is going to be like Jack Frost because everything is telling us this is Jack Frost with a Christmas tree, but they never do any of the fun, silly or super violent or just like just atrocious things they do in that movie. They just don't do it in this movie. And that's fine. You don't have to go as like over the top, horrible as that movie does in some instances, but do something. Just do anything, because this movie it doesn't do the opposite. It does nothing. So like in this scene, the tree tries to play Silent Night on the piano, which I'm like, this is going to be funny. Yeah. Like, okay, every time I go, this setup is so perfect, something funny is about to happen, but it never does. It's trying to press the keys with its branches, but its branches like aren't strong enough to press the keys. Meanwhile, use your crazy roots. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would have been funnier if it just used the human hand that we just saw a minute ago in the black glove. Like that would have been the real funny. That would have been the fourth wall breaking bit. But of course they're not clever or funny enough to do that. And then when it's playing the tree, it's doing this very somber, like almost like it's having a moment that we're going to get some backstory about why the killer was the way he was. Like maybe it was going to be a Christmas Evil thing where he lost his mind when he saw his dad going down on his mom in a Santa outfit. Like, but you never see that. No. It's just this forlorn Christmas tree playing Silent Night and singing it on the piano. And you're like, okay, here comes the flashback. But it's not. It doesn't come. It's just a stalking scene. Not stalking, like not SDOC. Stalking, like it's stalking Faith. And Faith is hiding under the bed. And the tree is walking through the house slowly going, oh, I'm going to get you. I am. and it goes on for a long time. And it plays like the entire rendition of Silent Night. And my whole thought the entire time was, okay, this sucks, obviously, but why is it not O Tenenbaum? Why is it Silent Night? Why is it not a Christmas song about a Christmas tree? Why it's just, that's a public domain song. You could have easily done that.
Yeah, O Tenenbaum's been around forever, and it's just like it is so infuriating. Like all the times you could succeed and you don't.
It almost is so bad with the missed opportunities that it's like, it makes me think that the director is stupid. Like it sounds really harsh, but it's like, it's either you're either doing this on purpose and trying to make it bad, or you're so just bad at what you're doing that you're not even like, you might just be stupid.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to explain how inept the decisions are.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, like, is this director, because he seemingly comes out of nowhere to just direct, produce, do visual effects and, all of these like shit movies,
Yeah.
Is he doing it in earnest? And like, did he just try to like start a career, or does he come from money and
that's what I was going to say. Is he someone's rich kid who's just like, fuck it, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, I'm going to take advantage of all these things now. I have all this money. I can just do what I want. And I want to make films. Oh, mother, I'm going to make films, aren't I? I'm going to be a great film director. Here comes Sky Monster.
Yeah, it's all been literally in the last year and a half. So, yeah, I mean, this guy, I have not seen any of the other movies, but this movie is just so, I don't know how else to describe it, but inept. Like uncaring, completely inept. It's bewildering how many just layups are missed that could have made the movie with no more budget, with no more shooting time, could have just made it a little bit more enjoyable. But it was like they were actively trying to make it not enjoyable.
Yeah. And like, this is what sets movies like this apart from, I'll go as terrible as to say Suburban Sasquatch. Suburban Sasquatch is one of the most ineptly made films, but it's made with a care that creates moments. It creates wonderful things, even though it's done wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you go, that's so silly and wonderful. And like, oh, he jumps out and crushes the car with a rock. And it's just like, yeah, that's great. Because he had a wonder about him when he was making this film. This film,
it was just a desire to make something good, even though there is no ability to make something good.
Right. This film is, they have ability because you can see it in a lot of the lighting setups. Like whoever the director of the photography is on this film, like they have like an ability. They know how to do a lighting setup.
It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look horrible.
Yeah. They know how to do a lighting setup. So that's one thing. They can do some semblance of CGI. They can do some semblance of practical effects, but it just really feels like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the most disappointing. That's the most infuriating part, I would say, of the movie.
Just to continue on this don't give a fuck train. I can't remember if it's during this Silent Night scene or if it's right before the other girl gets hung by the tree lights. But there's just a really terrible editing mistake of the tree is standing in kind of a hallway or alcove, and you can just tell like when they say action, because the tree is standing there, nothing's happening, and then it moves.
I mean, at this point, I was really struggling to pay attention. This is like the tree busting into the bedroom and just shuffling around and saying threats in a Cockney accent for like a long time. But it's like, I'm gonna find you, and then it comes in, doesn't look at all for them, never uses its weird tentacles. Like the good part would have been like, oh, the tentacles like reaching under the bed, or the tentacles reaching in the closet where the other friend was and like almost finding them. But no, it just walks into the room, goes like, oh, I'm gonna get you, and then just turns around and shuffles back out. It's just so lazy. So it eventually, the thing, it goes out into the hallway. As soon as it leaves the room, they're like, oh, we're free. Jumps up. But they're not. I mean, it literally, the tree walks a half a mile an hour. Like you guys could have guessed it was right out in the hallway.
Right.
So they go out in the hallway and the tree's like, I'm going to grab you with my lights. And then there's a little bit of a struggle, but not really. And then the tree just CGIs the friend to death. And then Faith runs into the woods. Okay, now we're at the kind of climactic conclusion, which again, get ready, because it couldn't make less sense. Faith, and it couldn't be more lazy either. Yeah. Like it is just, it is so atrocious. Faith runs into the woods. The tree pursues her into the woods. There's one scene, it's shuffling like an idiot wrapped in fucking a fake bush. And the next cut, it's a giant creeping CGI monster tree. And it's like, those are supposed to be the same things. And it's like the juxtaposition is entertaining. And it's like lurking, and it's got totally different colored lights, and it's 18 times the size. Like it's just it's so lazy that it is kind of entertaining. So like now I'm paying attention again, at least. And the tree here, confusing what the tree is and its relationship with being a tree versus a killer who just got turned into a tree, because it's like, you're gonna hide in the woods, eh? I was born in the woods, molded from this very soil. And you're like, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
You're Geddy Lee, bassist and singer of British prog rock band Rush. Like, how? You're not a tree. You're a killer who just was a tree. And just became a tree.
And it's literally the same fucking dialogue from The Dark Knight Returns or Rises or whatever. It's the speech Bane gives to Batman about darkness.
Oh, God.
He's like, I was born in darkness, molded by it. You know, it's the exact same dialogue, but he's like, I'm a tree and I was molded by the woods and I'm from the woods and I'll get you, Batman.
Well, this is the thing. Like this director, like, clearly has never seen a horror movie before. Like he has no idea what the genre is about at all. And he probably, like, 3 years ago when he was 16 was like, watched Batman and was like, oh, I want to make a Batman movie.
Yeah.
And his rich parents were like, yeah, go ahead, go make a Batman movie. And then he was like, well, then some, studio guy was like, just make dumb horror movies. Like they'll sell, that's what sells right now. And then that's what he's done. Yeah. That's his life now.
Somebody told him, hey, the way to break into film is you do horror films first. And like he does so many things that are just biting off of pre-established, like, public domain IP. Because one of the first films he produced in 2021 was The Legend of Jack and Jill. And then Curse of Bloody Mary, H.P. Lovecraft's Monster Portal, Wrath of Van Helsing. So it's just taking these known entities and just making fucking garbage with it. And, like, because it's a known name, you maybe click on it more than Monster NATO.
Well, the only reason this movie is probably on Tubi, and the only reason that we know who this guy is even a little bit, is because he made a trailer for that Winnie the Pooh movie, and we were like, you guys are making a Winnie the Pooh horror movie? That's wild. And then that was his whole career is really that. And I'm sorry, I'm being very, very harsh on this guy, but he just is such an inept filmmaker. I've only watched one movie, and I never want to watch another movie.
I've seen two now.
So you know better than me. The tree ties her to a tree. Feels redundant, but it does, with Garland, in a way that her arms aren't even tied. So she could very easily get out, and she does, by the way. And it's suggested for a brief moment that the tree is going to sexually assault her. It's very clearly like this tree is going to try to rape her. But then she, like, punches it or something. Or does she grab something in her pocket?
It was hard.
I rewound it twice. I still don't know what happened.
So hard to tell. I thought she grabbed a rock and hit him with it, or like an acorn seed. I don't know.
But he just got shot with a tactical shotgun and was like, I'm bulletproof. Yeah. And then she just, like, punches him or hits him in the head with something enough to knock him backwards as a tree. So bad job, guys. But then, guys, here's where it takes a little bit of a turn. Faith's parents, which you kind of could have expected, Faith's parents were going to show up at one point. I mean, he even says at some point when they're in the house, they're still here. Oi, I can feel their spirits are here. Or some bullshit you think is a throwaway line, but it's obviously, like, you can tell he wouldn't have said that. He wouldn't have said something different than, oi, I'm about to get you, if it didn't mean something. So he just said that a minute ago. So Faith's parents are going to come back. Faith's parents do show up, but they are a tree. And I mean that there is not two trees that represent her parents. They are a tree now. And they make one tree, and it's supposed to represent both of her parents' spirits, apparently. And I don't know why they make the decision to do one tree. It would have made slightly more sense for it to be two trees that gang up and kill the bad tree. But one tree shows up, and then they actually insert a couple of lines to explain why it's only one tree. And I don't know why. The decision is baffling to me. I don't know if there was a time constraint or what, but the parents are a tree, and Faith easily escapes from what she was tied to the tree. And then this dialogue happens between the killer tree and the parents' tree, and they fight kind of for a second, but the whole thing lasts 7 seconds and you can't really see what happens besides, imagine two trees, a bright white tree and the killer tree kind of jump up in the middle of the forest and bump into each other. and then land on the ground and form a bonfire. Not an explosion and a fire in the woods, a perfectly formed, constructed bonfire.
Yeah.
And it's so, to say clunky would be too generous. It is done by an idiot, by a lazy idiot who's bad at his job.
It's done by somebody with no budget and no care, and it's done by one person who doesn't have somebody above them telling them, this looks like dog shit, what are you doing? Because even in this scene, they have the one white tree that appears and is talking to Faith, and it looks like a pristine white Christmas tree. You know, it looks very holy and everything. You'll see it in like a lot of waspy homes. Great. When they cut to the fight scene, it's very obviously the same character model, but one's reskinned because the white tree no longer looks like the same white tree we just saw 2 seconds ago. It looks like the same big clunky bush that has been throughout the whole movie. And it's just like, what are we doing? Why are we bothering?
This is just like, this movie just makes you do that thing that the main character does in Dazed and Confused, where he just like puts his fingers between his, like on the bridge of his nose. Like, that's what this whole movie is. It is that gesture.
Why waste the time? Just have the white tree shoot a white light at the fucking shrub in a costume, and then have that catch on fire and then burn to the ground. Just do that. Who gives a shit?
Literally have two people in black bodysuits hold a tree, a dark tree and a light tree, and run full speed into each other. That would have been way more entertaining. It's so... It's like it's a unique combination of lazy and stupid. Yeah. Like it calls back to the old, you know, fat, dumb, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. Like from Animal House, because it's like you're so bad at your job, but to also be so inept and dumb, it's a unique combination, and maybe it'll age in a way that's funny. Like, I could see that, because I'm sure when some people who watched like really, really stupid movies, like I think of the movie, because Jack Frost isn't a good example, because Jack Frost actually tries really hard.
And it does a lot of good things, and it's funny. It
does a lot of really good things. But I think about something like Killer Bed, the Bed That Eats, or whatever. What the hell's the name of that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
I think it's just like Deathbed, isn't it?
Deathbed, not Killer Bed. Deathbed, the Bed That Eats. That movie is kind of this, but back then, right? There's no CGI, but you just have somebody on a bed, and then the person sinks into the bed, and then they do like they dub over a sound of the bed just going like yum, 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 and just chew it, right? And back then, people undoubtedly watched that and were like, fuck you, you pieces of shit, you lazy assholes. And I hope that 30 years from now, if this movie still exists and the Earth still exists, they will go, oh, it's funny that this is that bad. And maybe CGI will develop to a point where the ineptitude is funny, but right now it's not. Right. It's just not. Yeah. We don't have the frame of reference for this to be funny now. It just seems horrible.
Yeah, I think it's also, there's just a cynicalness to us, probably, but
yeah,
you know, I think that cynicalness is a reflection of the way these films get made, because even as we're speaking, that director has already, like, he put out that Winnie the Pooh movie. He already directed another movie before doing Blood and Honey. So he directed 2 movies in 2023. Like, there's just such a factory type of just cranking out shit without giving care to it. Whereas if you look at other small budget indie filmmakers who care, it'll take them 2 to 3 years to put a movie out, because they're trying to gather resources and gather the right story, and then they'll wind up pushing, effects back, and they'll come back and finish the film 6 months later, just like, but they care. They want to get the story they want to tell out. This is just cynically, again, just slapping something together to trick you on Tubi or Redbox.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the thing. It is the equivalent of like a tourist trap type of, not the movie. I love it. It is the equivalent of like a tourist trap in real life, where it's just like, oh, there's some signs that make this sound good. And then you get there and it's fucking
come see the secret of the Anunnaki. And then you get in there and it's like a fucking dirt mound and, a weird, rock somebody found.
And they just want to sell you Dr. Pepper. Yeah. So anyway, the end here. Faith sits by the bonfire that was created when the trees exploded together, and she's sad, even though her life was just saved, and her parents' spirit came and saved her. Did she think her parents were still alive for a moment? Like, why is she sad? It doesn't make sense for her to be sad. She should be happy, or at least relieved or something, but her feelings don't make sense here. And then Cindy, the sex worker friend who was just killed, shows up, and it's dawn, and none of that happened. The ultimate sin that doesn't surprise me, because they don't care about this movie or the audience, and the whole second and third parts of this movie were a slap in the face to the audience. So why not just really hammer it home at the end? None of this happened. It was all apparently Faith's like just hallucinating in the woods. Yeah. And they were looking for her all night. Where have you been? But the friend kind of seems to know that Faith has been going, like, experience some weird stuff. Like, I guess I don't know how to describe it. The suggestion is that the friend knows that Faith has been through some stuff that night and like was hallucinating or something, but there's no reason she should know it. And she's just like, oh, like, she might as well have said, she doesn't come out and say this, but this is kind of how it read to me, is she goes up and goes, hey, Faith, oh, none of that happened. Oh, we've been looking for you all night. Remember? Yeah. You don't remember? She's like talking to the audience, not to Faith.
Yeah, it's so baffling. And also, this is a part where like the audio is so hard to hear. I didn't actually hear it, and I didn't care to hear it. I was just like, yeah, whatever. It was all a dream. I get it. Move on. What do you have for me? Yeah. What's the end tag to let us know that, but was it a dream? What's the end tag there?
Yeah, you knew that was coming, and you do, and it's just as bad as you expect it to be. All the friends who were killed earlier, who we didn't care about one of them, we literally didn't give a fuck about one of them. They kind of do this triumphant, we're alive, but none of that ever happened. So why should we feel any type of satisfaction about being alive? Walking out of the house, all the friends turn around and are like, I can't wait to be done with this house. And it's like, you didn't go through anything. You just had a party last night. You chose to have a party at this house. Why do you want rid of this house? None of it makes sense. And it's just like the movie didn't happen, but they're reacting like they went through a harrowing experience there, but they didn't. They didn't. And Faith thanks her mom for saving her, even though that didn't happen. Right.
Yeah. None of it happened. Like, what are you thankful for?
For the thing she didn't do in your hallucination? And then then they pan around and there's a huge old pine tree in the front yard, and they CGI eyes on it, and then a bunch of tentacles come out, and then the credits roll.
Yep.
It's so bad, and I hate it. And the more I realize this, and like, it just like, when the movie ended, I was just like, it was just an exhale. It's just so... It was not only was this movie bad, it was demoralizing.
It really is.
Like, made me hate movies for a quick second. I started out by saying like, oh, this director, he's done some other things. Like, I haven't really seen them. This was bad, but maybe he'll do other things. And as we've unpacked this movie, I now can say with 100% confidence that Reese Frake Waterfield, you can go fuck yourself. Like, I feel very strongly that I dislike you as a person.
It's
like, that's where I'm at right now.
It's just something about his fucking face is bugging me.
His stupid, smug little fucking face. And I want to punch his little gorpy face. Yeah. That's how much I hated your movie, Reese. You piece of shit.
It just,
I have just never had as a visceral reaction to just hating a filmmaker before.
Yeah, I think, and this is one of those things, like I said, I have had 2 of these films in my life now. So it's one of those, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, not going to get fooled again.
Gotta go and get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
But like it's a confirmation for me now that like this guy is just bad and he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Like all he wants to do.
That's the thing. He's bad, but also he's an asshole. That's what I'm saying. This movie incites viscera towards the filmmaker. I can't think of another filmmaker that I've been like, even when we watched, Halloween Puppy, aka Great Halloween Puppy Adventure, aka Secret Puppy, or not Secret Puppy, a Magic Puppy. Secret Puppy.
A Secret Puppy.
I didn't even feel this way towards that filmmaker. Like, I was just like, oh, he's so bad. This guy sucks. He's so weird. And he just like this is just a big scheme to like see a bunch of hunks with no shirts on. Like, I didn't feel this viscera that I feel against this guy.
Yeah. So, all right. So like, the Halloween Puppy and all a talking horse and a talking cat, those movies are made in the same vein as this film because it's just the trick families. But we know David Duchovny can do better because he did Slime Bolorama. He did The Killer Eye.
Right.
Like, we've seen him do better. So I don't know if that's more or less evil that he... Like, this Reese guy just might be a total incompetent with money, whereas David Duchovny is using his powers for evil.
Like, you think that, like, I guess that's what I'm saying is I don't fully understand why I'm feeling so much just viscera against this guy, whereas I didn't feel that towards David Duchovny, and I feel like it has something to do with, I don't know. I find myself trying to come up with ideas and contradicting myself in my mind. I feel like David Duchovny, the world has been hard to him, and he is just hanging on by a thread and trying to figure out what he needs. So like, when I see a filmmaker who started out doing some okay things and then it's just have fallen so far, and you just, who knows what happened to them? Life has kicked their ass. And now they are just like, they are just sunk into, I feel like here's what it comes down to. I think that David Duchovny, in his heart of hearts, feels bad. And I feel like this guy doesn't. He's remorseless. And I think that's what is ultimately distilled down why I hate him so much, is he's coming into movies doing this. You know what I mean? The world hasn't beat him down. He's like, he looks like he's about 17 years old. You know what I mean? He's doing this by choice, whereas David Duchovny needs to pay for that big ugly house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, David Duchovny is still in, both him and Eric Roberts are in like this pact of like, look, we just keep making movies and we'll finance our parlays and whatever other vices we're into. Like, they just have like certain addictions they're trying to keep a hold of. They're trying to keep us,
and a lot of debt, probably like a tremendous amount of debt. So they are just in survival mode, and so they are doing them out of necessity. And this, we're of course making this all up in our heads, but that's how I'm imagining that they are doing it out of necessity, and this guy is doing it because he's just an opportunistic little fucking prick.
Like if he wasn't doing this, he'd be doing crypto scams, or he'd be doing multi-level marketing scams.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying David Duchovny isn't a bad person. Undoubtedly, he's probably an actual bad person, but he is backed into a corner.
Yeah.
And this guy is just an opportunistic little snide prick with his eyes too close together.
Yeah. He's just British.
He's just so British. His name's so British. Fuck him.
Unlikably British.
All right. You're just painfully British. Oh, guys.
Goddamn
listen,
colonizer.
I'm going to reiterate this. You son of a bitch. You rat fuck. Just half hour of us just spitting just fucking insults at him. You little tiny fucking olive pecker British fuck. Just slowly talking ourselves into hating him more and more. Anyway, this is by far the most hate we've ever given for a filmmaker. But again, I have no remorse for it. He deserves every ounce of it. All right. So once again, let me remind you, don't watch this movie. Please don't. Go watch Jack Frost instead. Yeah. It's also free. I'm sure it's on Tubi. There's 100 other great movies to watch. Don't get suckered into watching The Killing Tree. And also, guys, tell your friends, don't watch The Killing Tree.
Don't watch Killing Tree.
This is the first time I actively want to make sure no one watches a movie. Yeah. Like, I really don't want this to affect you in the way that it has us.
Don't watch Killing Tree. Don't watch Blood and Honey. It's the same kind of empty, like, just ugh. You don't feel good after watching it. You don't get anything out of it. Mm-hmm. So don't watch Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
Don't retweet Blood and Honey 2 trailer when it comes out. Don't just
ignore it. Pretend it didn't it's not happening.
Yeah. This Reese Frake Weatherwords or whatever, I forget his name now. Whatever his name
Waterfield.
is. He has a degree in economics. Make him go back to do economics. Make him go into accounting. Don't let him keep making garbage.
And don't tell people, don't tweet about how much you hate him and how bad it is. Just ignore it. Ignore him and he'll go away. Yeah. That's what I would urge everyone to do.
Make these movies stop.
Don't reward their bad behavior. All right, guys, that was unfortunately A Killing Tree from 2022. Go watch these movies instead and get ready for our Secret Satan showdown next week. Your boy's going to be talking about Await Further Instructions from 2018. That might be a piece of shit too. Might be a masterpiece. I have no idea. Steve's going to talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. That is a piece of shit, but very entertaining. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to laugh. It's chaotic, stupid nonsense.
It's charming.
And then
it's charming, unlike this.
Right. It is charming in the most ass backwards way, and then get ready for our Secret special guest next week, which will you'll learn on the showdown episode next week, is going to be defending Black Christmas from 1974, a really genuinely great horror movie that you should go watch. And if you haven't watched it, go do it. There is no other horror movie that is as creepy, effective, and also gives you genuine Christmas feels as Black Christmas 74. Like, it is cozy and disturbing, and usually Christmas horror movies are one or the other, and so this is a unique one in that sense. So if you've not seen it, this is a great opportunity to check it out. And then, like I said, tune in next week to our showdown, Secret Satan showdown episode for our December showdown, and we'll talk about all those. Anything else, Steve, that I might be forgetting?
No, nothing off the top of my head. Yeah, I think we're all good there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you to all the boys and ghouls out here tuning in, listening to this here Minisode. Once again, Reese, go fuck yourself. And for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm gonna get you, bitch. I get you, you get you.
You're next. I'm a tree.
I'm a tree.
Right, bye.